I had lived in a remote part of the Appalachians. Cell phone service was almost non-existent at my house, and if I needed the internet, I had to drive 30 minutes to the local library. Despite the isolation, I had always thought of it as a peaceful and safe place to live. With so few people around, there wasn't anyone to commit crimes anyway. To me, home was a vast stretch of green hills. In the fall, the trees turned into a wild display of reds, oranges, and yellows, like the glowing embers of a dying campfire. But I never imagined that something so beautiful could hide something so terrifying, until last night. I was a senior pre-med student with a busy schedule. I spent endless hours in labs and classes, then came home to more stress, trying to get into medical school. I was always on edge. When I noticed an opening in my calendar, I knew I needed a break. I wanted to go back to the mountains, the place that had shaped who I was. Luckily, my girlfriend of 2 years also had a free weekend. I felt excited about finally sharing my home with her. We drove to the mountains late Friday afternoon with the windows down, breathing in the crisp fall air. After about an hour, we reached the mountain I had grown up on. It was one of the biggest in the area. Its wide, sloping base led up to a rocky ridge that ran across the horizon like a spine. I shifted the car into four-wheel drive and slowly climbed the rocky trail that counted as my driveway. We made our way through the forest until we saw the guest house. It sat about a quarter mile from the main house, clean and ready for visitors. A big contrast to our more cluttered main home. As we brought our bags inside, a light rain began to fall. The forest smelled sweet and earthy. My parents greeted us warmly, and we shared a home-cooked dinner filled with small talk and laughter. Around midnight, they said goodnight and left us alone in the guest house. My girlfriend, a city girl her whole life, was fascinated by the outdoors, especially animals. She loved hearing the distant howls of coyotes at night. I had lived in those woods long enough to master mimicking their calls. Most nights I could get a pack to howl back just by calling out from the window. We stood near the bedroom window and I let out a few loud howls. She laughed and winced a little at how ridiculous and loud I sounded. We waited for a response, but nothing came. I tried again. Still nothing. Only my own echo returned through the trees. Maybe it's too cold, I thought. On a rainy, chilly night, the coyotes were probably curled up in caves or dens. Then, something answered. Coyotes could make strange noises, but this wasn't one of them. It wasn't a howl, it was a scream, high-pitched, sharp, and bone-chilling. It echoed through the hollow like a human scream. But not quite. The tone was too piercing, too unnatural. "What the fuck?" I whispered. My girlfriend jumped up. "What was that?" she asked nervously. "Bobcat, maybe," I said, though I didn't believe it myself. I let out another howl. The same scream tore through the mist again, closer this time. I grabbed my flashlight and shone it through the trees. The fog made it hard to see far. I moved the beam around slowly, and then I saw it. As a biology student, I knew a lot about animals. But this wasn't like anything I had ever studied. It stood on two legs, its body covered in patchy fur, with cloven hooves like a deer. Its upper half looked somewhat human, but bony and covered in uneven hair. Its skin was pulled tight over its ribs and spine. But its head was the worst. A strange mix of human and animal features. Branch-like antlers grew from the back of its skull. It moved strangely, its limbs thin, quick, and unnatural. And it was heading toward the porch. "Go the fuck upstairs, Anna," I shouted. She sprinted out of the room and up the stairs. I grabbed my shotgun. I stepped into the living room, which led to the porch, and pointed my flashlight through the door's window. That's when I saw its eyes. They were pale and empty, like the cloudy eyes of an old dog, but they were alive. Something ancient burned in them. Something wrong. They looked straight through me. I pulled the trigger. The shotgun thundered through the room. My flashlight hit the floor. But I didn't stop shooting. It felt wrong, almost like a sin to shoot at something like that. Like it didn't belong in this world, but those eyes, they weren't human. They were evil. The beast screamed. So did Anna upstairs. I kept firing. Then, silence. It was gone. The house was filled with smoke and silence. I stood there, trembling, then rushed to call my parents on the landline. The next morning, my dad tried to joke about it. "Some night you had," he said with a chuckle. "Yeah, never seen a bear that close to the house," I mumbled. "Kinda pissed about the door," he said. "But a bear like that? You did what you had to." Poor Anna's too scared to stay the rest of the weekend, though. Now we're back at school, and I have no idea what to do. If I told my parents the truth, they'd think I was crazy. But I can't stop thinking about it. I can't leave them up there alone. That thing, it didn't feel like something that would die from a few shotgun blasts. It felt paranormal. Maybe writing this down will help me think clearly. Maybe someone out there has seen something like it before. Maybe someone knows what I saw.